to Best. Here he goes! And George Best sets a club scoring record.
I consider myself an entertainer. I mean, I think it was a big part of football, and I always tried to entertain people. I mean, it was show business as far as I was concerned.
Georgie, Georgie, they call you the Belfast boy. Georgie, Georgie, they call you the Belfast boy. They say, Georgie, Georgie, keep your feet on the ground. Georgie, Georgie, when you listen to the sound. Georgie, Georgie, put a light on your name. Hey, 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 play the game. Play the game. Oh, play the game. Just play the way the ball bounces and bounce the way the ball plays. Cause you won't have long in the limelight. No, you won't have many days. When you live and you play for United, with your life and your blood and your soul. You run and you kick and you fight it, and you learn every way to the goal. Georgie, Georgie, they call you the Belfast boy. Georgie, Georgie, they call you the Belfast joy. And they say, Georgie, Georgie, keep your feet on the ground. Georgie, Georgie, when you listen to the sound. Georgie, Georgie, put a light on your name. Yeah, 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 play the game.
Hello and welcome from Windsor Park in Belfast, where Northern Ireland's wayward genius George Best will have his testimonial after all. 6 months ago, of course, George was devastated when the IFA turned down his application for the game. But following an outcry from the public, the IFA had a rethink and, to their credit, have changed their mind. Coming up, a tribute to one of the world's greatest ever players. But looking ahead to the testimonial, George is very happy after thinking it wouldn't happen.
Surprised, but pleasantly surprised. I think really at the end of the day, something like this, you have to, it's down to the general public. I mean, if nobody shows up on the night, you know, that's up to them. If it's full on the night, that's also up to the public. You know, they're the ones who decide. And really, the original sort of committee were only asking for permission. That's all they wanted. And then they were the ones that were going to do the hard work. But it's nice that, you know, it's come around, it's worked out well. And I think the time of the year as well, the timing is right, weather-wise and availability of the players. So I was very pleasantly surprised. I mean, I really had thought it was a lost cause, so to speak.
May I say so, you're looking very trim.
I just started getting really into training. I've had a lot of problems with one of my knee and circulation in one of my legs. It's blown up really badly over the last couple of months. I've been having treatment on it, and I've just started back training again, so I'm hoping I've got another few months to get fit for the big night. So I want to get down to my fighting weight, so to speak, by then. So I'm feeling good in myself as well, which also helps a lot.
Bobby Charlton, United moving forward again. Manchester there, George Best, a lot of room to work. Gibbons on his right. Best again. A glorious goal by Best. What a magnificent goal by Best.
Brian Kidd to George Best. Fitzpatrick. Best going in on it. Best!
Oh, beautifully taken by Best. What a magnificent goal by Best.
George Best, for whom the word superstar could almost have been invented. A Pied Piper who attracted thousands to watch his unique artistry. Sadly, he was to become an enigma, unable to cope with his genius. A glittering career at the top was ended prematurely, and recent headlines have centred on his continuous battle against a drink problem. Many have said he wasted his talent, yet he's achieved much more than most people think. In 1968, he was named European Footballer of the Year, English Player of the Year, and helped Manchester United win the European Cup. He also won 2 league championship medals as United won the First Division title in 1965 and 1967. A 15-year-old Best joined United as an amateur in 1961. In May 1963, he signed professional forms. In September that year, he made his first-team debut. In all, he was to spend almost 11 years at Old Trafford, playing a total of 464 first-team games, scoring 178 goals. Indeed, he's the last United player to score over 20 league goals in a season.
It was a dream come true for me. Well, it would have been for any kid. You know, 15 years old, basically for someone to just come up to you and said, you want to play for Manchester United? It was, you know, it was, well, you can't really describe how it was. And almost immediately, you know, within sort of 18 months, you know, 2 years. I was in the first team. You know, at the same time playing in the youth team, I was playing in Europe basically. It was tremendous, yeah. And the fact that I played with so many great players was the icing on the cake.
Manchester United manager during those glory days in the 60s was Matt Busby. Having survived the Munich air disaster in February 1958, when 8 of United's team perished, Busby was in the process of building yet another great side when Best arrived at Old Trafford in the early 60s. The Belfast boy would eventually cause his manager many problems, but the early days were blissful, and 20 years on, Best is still glowing in his praise of Busby as both man and manager.
A genius in both. I was going to say one of the nicest. He's probably the nicest human being I've ever met. He's one of those people. I mean, I remember my father going to Old Trafford for the first time, and he treated him like he was a king. And the next time he went back, my father, he remembered his name, he remembered the name of the kids, he remembered what he drank, where he lived. He just had this talent for making people feel at home. And it wasn't just because he was my father, he did it with everybody. And as a manager, I mean, he wanted football to be played the way it should be played. I mean, we didn't have team talks. He just gave us a ball and said, go out and enjoy yourself. I suppose he could do it with the players he had.
He not only was a great player, he was a great lad at one time. Very, very good. He was very, very good, actually, and very helpful. And even in his early days, when I used to ask him to go and play with some young boys and that type of thing, he used to join in. And when I'd say, I think he's had enough, he'd say, no, it's all right, boss. We'll carry on. And this was George at that time, and he was very, very good.
When you look back, do you now regret having given him a few bad times?
No, because I give him more good times than I ever give him bad times. You know, I look back and at the end of the day, I happen to believe that I was, let's say, a major help in winning the European Cup, and it was something he dreamed about. So I happen to believe that I helped fulfill a dream for him. And I think if you ask him himself, he'll tell you that all the bad times he'd forget for that one moment.
The cup they wanted was the European Cup. 100,000 expectant fans packed the stands to see great football. Bobby Charlton and Coluna exchanged Manchester United and Benfica pennants. The moment of truth in the battle for mastery of European soccer had arrived. United, playing in blue, kicked off. United launched directly into attack. Bobby Charlton took the ball into Benfica territory. Dangerous moments as the Portuguese defence tried to clear. Now Benfica came away. That mighty danger man Eusebio sent in a scorcher. It ricocheted off the crossbar. What an escape! Stepney, unrattled, collected the return effort and got United moving. George Best fell foul of the first of a series of savage tackles which marred the first half. Best again with the ball. He seemed to be a target for the stop-them-at-any-cost Benfica defence, but Italian referee Lobello let that one go. Benfica had the advantage, but met a stonewall United rearguard. Charlton was very unhappy with the ref's decision, and the visitors too had plenty to say for themselves. Benfica with the dangerous free kick. But what a great keeper Stepney proved himself. It was near the end of an unglamorous first half. No score by either side. With the eyes of the world on both teams and the hopes of every Briton behind United, the second half got underway. The Busby boys seemed fired with a new enthusiasm and stormed into the attack. United's football was full of fire. Enrique had to concede a corner to keep that one out. George Best was in terrific form, but so was Enrique. Benfica weren't going to let United run away with the match. They too showed they meant business. On the showing so far, United were proving the better side. Hard-working Best put the ball out to the left, where Sadler had been playing like a demon. The return centre was a beauty. Charlton headed it home. What a tonic for the fans. United 1 up in the 55th minute and going all out for another one. The match was by no means won. Benfica pulled off a beauty through Graça. One all and time running out. Stepney was a wonder goalkeeper to stop that rocket from the big cannon boot of Eusebio, and the great Portuguese star sportingly acknowledged it. But that wasn't it. 90 minutes up and still deadlock. The teams were weary, but the fans weren't. With an extra 30 minutes of play ahead, bumps, bruises and tired muscles ached like they'd never ached before. But a wet sponge and a magic massage worked miracles. And so on into the first half of extra time. And what a 15 minutes it was. Stepney collected and fed his forwards. Waiting to receive was Mighty Best. He simply walked the ball into the net. What a goal! United in the lead. And that wasn't all. The Busby Babes were raring to go. They hammered Benfica. Watch this fantastic goal. My, oh my, how they cheered Kid, the birthday boy, for that super header. Even Stepney joined in. The Benfica fire had nearly been extinguished. But where United finished, not on your life. Bobby Charlton made it 4-1. Manchester United had well and truly done it. They were supreme soccer champions of Europe. At last, Matt Busby, the maestro of Manchester United, had groomed a team great enough to beat Europe's best. He was king of soccer. His wonderful 11 men were all princes.
After the game, I felt an anticlimax because it was all over. And the following couple of seasons, it became more of an anticlimax because the team really was on the slide, really. I mean, when you look 4 years later, they were in the second division. So that's what I was trying to say. I could see that it was a little bit, you know, when it happened, it was the greatest thing that ever happened to the club. But after that was an anticlimax because it should have kept going. You know, we should have done a Liverpool. We should have kept winning trophies, winning the league, winning European Cups, and we didn't. We went the opposite, which for a club the size of Manchester United was a little bit frightening when you look at it. I mean, they're still my club. I still think of them as my club.
Winning the European Cup in 1968 was the pinnacle of success for that superb United team. They also won the First Division title twice. It was the era of George Best, Denis Law and Bobby Charlton, three of the greatest individual players ever to grace the British game. A brilliant trio who enthralled